Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time, getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit freedomlovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. freedomlovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is Luca Zanna, final hour. This is the hour about love. I tell you something. When I came to Arizona, coming especially from a place originally like Italy, and then, of course, California, there is no probably perfection in this world. I believe that we are still on planet Earth, and no matter where you go, you're still also always going to find other human beings that who want to try to rule you. But comparing it to California, my last step, and of course to comparing it from Italy, Arizona gave me the opportunity to breathe in for a moment and say, you know what? There is still a chance. There is still a chance to take it back. There is still a chance to make it better. And there is still a chance to do things that probably in many other parts of the world I could even dream, or I would be arrested just to think about it. So anyway, this is pretty much the journey for freedom. And of course, in my little journey, I've always been trying to learn and find other people who has the same passion or the same type of appetite for freedom, and trying to find their ways. And I really believe this is important. We try to learn from each other. One of the people that really gave me a lot of inspiration, even I never really met him in person, but I read about him, and of course I listened to his interviews and also watch his YouTubes, was and is Adam Kokesh. When I found out that this guy is a regular guy, of course, and he created his own platform and all the messages about freedom, but now finally he came to Arizona, and it's really not that far from me. You know, I live in Mohave County, and it's like pretty much next county in the Ashford area. So today I have the pleasure and the honor to have him on the show, and I would like to ask him questions to know him a little better. But it's not about me knowing better. It's about trying to learn from each other, and especially what he's trying to do here in this part of Arizona, because that's exactly the goal, how to liberate ourselves. Adam, are you there?
I am. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hey, thank you very much. You know, I've been following you pretty much since I started to wake up. And of course, you were one of the first people that gave me the inspiration to even be on the air, you know, with this, my little accent and my poor grammar. Say, you know what, I got to do what I can. Listen, I'll give you the floor first
It's a very enjoyable accent.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to give you the floor. Please let us know a little bit, first of all, why you came to Arizona and which part of Arizona you are, and what is exactly what you try to accomplish there in Arizona, here in Arizona. Go ahead.
I bought a little 10-acre piece to build my homestead here in Juniper Wood Ranch, which is near Ashford. It's a beautiful 120,000-acre area that has been divided up into parcels and is being sold off. And I got my little piece because I thought that this was the best place in the world for me to live free. And I may have been wrong in that, but I know that I like the climate, I like the environment, and I love the people and the attitude and the way that people generally look at freedom here. The overall location is great. You know, when you look at the temperatures in Phoenix, a lot of people think, holy crap, all of Arizona is really hot like that. But where we are, we're at 5,000 feet, so it's usually about 25 degrees cooler than it is in Phoenix. And it's a hot one today here, so I can't imagine how miserable people are in Phoenix. I guess they're all probably staying inside, I hope, enjoying man's triumph over nature, also known as air conditioning. But out here, we get by without it usually. And I'm in a bit of a bind right now, as you know, that we still have to deal with extortionists in the name of county zoning officials who think that they can tell me what I can and can't do on my own property, even when I am not affecting anybody else's enjoyment of their property. And it's a really interesting stand that we're taking here, and I'm very nervous. I'm very scared about how this turns out. But as you know, a lot of people who look at my activism think that I'm brave, and I'm not. And if you want to get into it, I can tell you about how I'm just more confident in my calculations when it comes to standing up for freedom. But what I do scares the heck out of me every day. Even in a way, being here, living under government, when you understand it, should scare the heck out of you every day. Mm-hmm. But with this in particular, we're at risk of them eventually taking the land. That's what government does. I don't think it's going to come to that. I think we will successfully carve out our little free zone here at Freedom Ranch, but I don't know how it plays out. And right now we're asking people to help by calling in to the extortionist David Williams. If you go to my Facebook page, I hope you'll include the link, facebook.com/Adam Charles Kokesh. You can see the event page that we've set up for the rally and call flood to resist this extortion attempt. And I hope that people will join us. We have a hearing scheduled on August 9th. And if before then people can call in, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay, let's. I want to be sure. I think I understand what's going on, but I want to be sure everybody gets the idea, because that was going to be also my next question. When I moved to Arizona, I wanted to move outside the cities because for me that's an extra layer of extortionism, and of course the next layer of people that wants to tell you how to live your life. So I said, okay, the lowest I can go is the county. But I was hoping to find something beyond the county that I don't need to deal with them. I can just take care of myself, live my life, and do not be facing every year the mafia fee or called property taxes. Let's spell it out. Or even worse, property taxes, they're bad enough, and maybe we're not going to change it tomorrow. But what really bugs me the most, after I pay my blood money called property taxes, why should I always ask for a permit for something that's supposed to be mine, especially when, as you said, we live in not like on top of each other, like let's say in New York or big cities, that they could justify that they want to keep you safe from each other. So these permits, they're not for safety, they're just to have extra revenues and, more important, control, because they can tell you if you can move a brick from point A to point B, and you must beg. And I hate it. And I tell you, I don't use this word hate because normally I'm a very loving person, but one thing I cannot really make me feel my blood boiling, the idea that nothing changed since the time of the kings. Well, you have the sheriff, that at the time was different from now, the sheriff who was pretty much the man of the king, going around collecting the fees from the slaves, or at that point maybe it was how many chickens do you have, how many grains did you produce. You need to give 50% to the king slave. Now, same story, just change the name. You must give your fair share to the county, and you must ask for a permit, otherwise you are a terrorist. Now, what's going on with you? Did you try to build something without a permit?
Well, if I may go back for just a second on something you said there, if you're paying property taxes, your ownership isn't being respected in the first place. The government has made you a renter, and it's almost to have acknowledged that. I haven't paid property taxes since I bought this property yet. I don't know if I'm going to. It kind of depends on how this situation with the zoning issue plays out. But yes, I came out here and was very open and public on the internet, talking about what I was doing, that I was building an experimental home, that we were setting up a single-family homestead, that it was going to be a zero-waste home, that it is built out of garbage primarily. This is an Earthship-style home. All of the construction we are doing here will be in that methodology of using tires and bottles and cans as the primary building blocks. Of course, we're building very high-quality homes. Packed earth tires are 300-pound bricks, and all of the bottles and cans are encased in cement, concrete, very sturdy buildings with rebar reinforcement and all of that. And they sent me an email saying, "We would like to help you." And I said, "No, thanks. I wouldn't like your help."
Wow.
And
Who
the next
sent who
email they
sent you
sent
the
back,
Adam? Who sent you the email exactly? Just to specify.
this was, David Williams with the Yavapai County Zoning Department.
Zoning department. Okay. So you were
Yeah.
trying to build like what you call, I guess, it's called the Earthship, like using this sort of alternative recyclable materials. It's like some sort of an Earthship. Did you heard about this word?
Yes. Yeah. I've taken the Earthship Academy in October. I think
Wow.
Mike Reynolds is a great genius.
Wow.
And so I'm definitely a student of the technique, and I'm learning and figuring things out here as I go as well. It's not even recycled materials; it's using garbage.
Wow.
We are in building. We are doing the recycling.
So
We are taking the.
go ahead. You're building with recyclable stuff. Yes.
Well, we are building with garbage, discarded tires
Wow.
that otherwise would be piling up in landfills, bottles and cans that could be recycled, but we are, in a sense, directly upcycling them, turning them immediately into the building blocks of what we're putting together here.
Okay, I try to play the master's advocate, okay? Not the devil's advocate, the master's, our master advocate. After all, you came to our county, of course, and you, a slave, must submit to pay, first of all, your property taxes. Who you think you are? Number one. Number two, because that right there, I tell you, I've been thinking a lot and I've been studying different solutions. I know people, for example, they found ways legally through patent land. The fact that most part of this land was somehow given to the railroad companies during the time, and there was an agreement with the Congress and directly also with the president that, for example, the railroad companies, they don't pay property taxes. You know that, and
Right.
there were all this checker land that they were given, also then sold, and they were still under the originally, let's say, deed of these railroad companies. So some people, through studies and of course also a lot of legal challenges, they were able, some of them, to succeed, especially if their land comes under that idea that was under the original railroad companies. But the point is, it's very hard, seriously. As much as I love the idea that I hate, to think that every year I own different parts of land and I had to pay this rent pretty much, and it's terrible. It's made me feel really like a slave. But the point is, how can we win this? Because after all, the system is very black and white. You're gonna, maybe if you're lucky, you go in front of a judge. Maybe, I don't even think you have a chance. And the bottom line is, they will get legally your property. They will sell it for auction, and that's it. That's problem number one. Problem number two, permits. When did you start to build your own Earthship or your homestead? Did they come to you? Did they try to come on your property and say, by the way, you need to have a permit to build whatever shack you want to build? Did they try to do that with you?
Well, they sent me some emails and some nasty letters, and then they came and posted a notice on my gate.
Okay. What does it say, this gate? With this notice?
It says, here are your violations, and here is your hearing date.
Wow. So it was a hearing date. Did you go to the hearing date? I'm just curious.
So it's coming up August 9th, and that's why we're
Okay.
asking for people right now to call in advance.
Okay, this is very important. As I said, even in the middle of nowhere, we're still not in paradise, and we still have the enforcers that will try to, make our life according to their rulings. But, there is always a compromise. I don't like compromises, but sometimes, I like to be left alone. And I know what you're going through, because I had the same temptation many times. But at the same time, I said, as much as I hate sometimes to compromise, but every year, for example, I need to give them this blood money, like the mafia, okay? And you give them the money and they say, leave me alone. Now, would be nice, though, that one day the slaves, they all get together, instead of being just you, by yourself, say, you know what? I'm not going to be now single out anymore. Maybe we have 100 more people in the counties. They say, you know what? I think it's time to revolt, peacefully, but time to revolt. Because why should we ask for a permit when it's our property? Why should we beg for something that we already paid? And I'm not even going to, I don't say we should probably face all the problems at the same time. Maybe the property taxes would be a nice, different type of problem, because I think it's deeper. For example, in Mojave County, we did not have any permits before 1987 or something like that, okay? Then, of course, they decided to create this stuff. That's something that we can maybe have a little victory to attack that one. What do you think? Maybe should we attack one by one?
Well, I think that's why zoning is what we attack first. It is the most offensive, egregious form of extortion that we face trying to live free and independent this way.
Yeah. And especially when, as I said many times, I've been talking to supervisors. I don't know if you try to reach out to your county supervisors. And some of them, at least psychologically or at least philosophically, they get it. The idea is supposed to be voluntarily. If you want to do something, let's say, because one day you want to resell it, you want to have your paperwork, signed by the county to feel great. But once the land is paid and clear, there is no bank or, let's say, lending company.
I paid cash for the land. I own it outright entirely.
Perfect. So there is nobody that but yourself that should be concerned. That's the point, So anyway, now is your house built? Did you already create your little homestead?
No, well, we've got a shipping container here. We've got our bird run set up with chickens and turkeys, and we're hoping to add rabbit and quail to that soon.
Okay.
And we've got our warm-up building. We did a little camp kitchen that could be a tiny home very easily.
Okay.
Almost complete. But the house, no, we've got some of the excavation done for it, and we've got some tires laid out. But we're just getting started on the main build at this point. Okay.
But right now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a technical person in constructions. You didn't put any type of walls, really, did you? Did you put any type of buildings besides these containers? Did you build any of these specific?
No, we put up a fence.
Okay. So
it's funny because it's the one thing that they have not objected to, that we put in a fence and put in a road connecting our property to the main road.
What is the problem there? Since you didn't build any type of buildings yet without their permits, master permits, why did they somehow get you in violations that you're not complying with something? What is the issue then? What did you do so bad? Did you have turkeys, maybe chickens without their permits?
Yeah, well, it's worse than that, and what they're trying to say we cannot do here.
What?
In that by their regulations, you're not allowed to camp on your own land for more than 10 days in a row, which is really funny because there's public land here where you're allowed to camp for 2 weeks without any permit.
This is unbelievable because I thought when I heard these stories in other states, and that was bad enough, but to have this in the state of Arizona, now you tell me I cannot camp in my own land. That's really, it's time we need to attack this. Listen, I'm glad that we are next door each other because I'm not that far from you, and this is something that we can pick a lot of battles out there, but I think sometimes you need to focus on the things you can at least I don't say win immediately, but we have a chance at least to change it or at least to educate people's mind. I lost hope for Washington and all that's happening at the federal level, but at county level, we need to address this in a very positive way. So this is my point. You're not even in violation of building without permits. Now you're in violation, according to what you say to me, to camping on your property without master's permit. Correct?
Well, they're also saying that the building that we have done so far is a violation.
And what building did you have?
Having outdoor storage of building materials and having having built the bird run is a violation, and having the shipping container on here is a violation.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, everything. And what's really silly about it, and this is basically how they get to say we own your land. Every violation is $750 a day.
Oh my God.
So just for being camping on my own land for 6 months, hypothetically, they say that I already owe them tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh my God!
But if you really were to add up everything they're threatening me with, I think at one point it was 10 violations. At one point they counted it as 26 violations. Of course, none of this is proven, but each one is $750 a day. So for having building materials stored outside right now, for having a wood pile of materials, they're saying that is a violation. It's costing me $750 a day. That every day there's, I guess, per person, and we've had other people out here. Every day there is someone camping out here. That's a $750 violation.
Wow, I had no idea it was so bad. Seriously, I mean, I knew something was going on, but this is really disturbing. Did you ever have a chance to talk to your county supervisors? There is one specifically for your district. Did you ever talk to him or to her? I don't know.
Well, someone who's helping me with this is Mark Stevens, and he's reached out to them, and so we're going to be subpoenaing all of them. We've actually requested a subpoena already for all of them for this hearing. So if they want to go through with this, we are going to make it. We're going to make them follow all of their own rules and go through every process. But the main thing that we're standing on here is that they haven't proven jurisdiction. And earlier, when you said you were playing master's advocate, government advocate, you said you called me a slave. And in order for them to do what they're doing, they have to come out and publicly on the record say, yes, Adam, we have jurisdiction because we own you because you're a slave.
Wow.
And if that's the case, I think there are a lot of people who are willing to stand up and fight against that. As for me, I will not do anything violent to defend this property. I will sit in peacefully. I will occupy it. I will ask people to defend it peacefully. But there are a lot of people in this area who would put up roadblocks outside of my property to prevent anyone who I don't want coming in here, who would shoot at government agents if necessary, if it comes to that, like people said they were going to do at Bundy Ranch. And I'm very glad that ended with a peaceful standoff, and that was a much bigger issue than this. The whole federal government, the BLM, against people trying to claiming legitimately thousands of acres of grazing rights.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is I want 10 acres to build a house. I just want to be left alone on my own, fenced-in 10 acres. Please leave me alone here. And I think it's a much more righteous cause and a much more reasonable thing to take a direct stand for.
This is exactly proves the point that we are no more the land of the free, but we are the land of the fee. Simple as that. And, seriously, when people say, oh, we are the land of the free, listen, maybe one time, yes, one time, we lost it. And I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm not trying to say, oh my God, it's all bad. No, but we cannot fix a problem until we wake up and we admit that we have a big problem. Then we can say, okay, we have a problem. We're going to get it back, but we got to admit it. So we are not anymore the land of the free. If the point you told me that you cannot even camp, have a little fun on the land that you already paid dearly, okay? And I'm not even going to after you're still paying your property taxes if you were paying. And that's another issue. Even if you were paying your property taxes, you cannot even camp out on that piece of land in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you have, oh my God, all these other buildings and businesses and things, rabbits and coyotes, they don't really care, okay, if you sleep on the ground or if you sleep
one of the reasons we bought this particular piece of land is for the tree privacy. We have enough trees here that that we're not going to, we're not even going to be visible. When we're done here, at least, you won't, unless you come up to our fence line and you're really looking for us. You won't even be able to see us from the neighbor's property.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Listen, when you came to the area, I heard about that. I said, well, I want to meet them. I want to maybe one time drive by and stop to say hi and maybe bring some wine or something like that. But and I say, strange, nothing happened yet, because normally when he goes around, and I miss all this part of the action, just because, many of my listeners already know about you. But before even you came to Arizona, one of the biggest thing that you went through as emotionally and also, dangerously for your life and your freedom was when you got arrested after your peaceful demonstration of lack of freedoms that we don't have anymore in Washington, D.C. Can you just remind us briefly what happened then and exactly how things went?
Well, I can't really answer that question because there are several events that you could be referring to, but if you mean the main one that resulted...
Yeah, I'm talking about when you got arrested, when you were going out with your, showing the Second Amendment right that doesn't exist anymore in Washington on video with your, I think it was a shotgun in Washington, D.C., and then they came after you because of that, and you spent time in jail.
Yeah, well, I've been arrested about 36 times in protesting and civil disobedience. Before that, I went to jail for a week in Philadelphia for assaulting a federal officer because he bumped into me while he was running to arrest someone else at a protest for smoking a joint, and I think I was set up to some degree. Not, I mean, I don't know how much conspiracy there was behind it, but the incident that you're referring to, I should say about that, there was plenty of video footage, and it was obvious. So when I said no, I'm not even going to accept your release terms for pretrial release. You got 100 days to bring the charges. I'm going to stay in jail. They released me the next day because they knew it would just be a big embarrassment for everyone involved. And when I went to jail for the shotgun incident, they raided my home. I made a YouTube video loading a shotgun in Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C., and they sent more men after me than they sent after bin Laden.
Yes.
They sent 2 helicopters over my home, an armored vehicle with a SWAT team, multiple agencies, men in masks.
Oh my God.
A lot of them were wearing ski masks and other things that covered their faces when they came into my home. My girlfriend at the time, she was taking a shower and was on her period, and they dragged her out and made her sit in her own blood for hours while they ransacked my home.
Oh my God.
And busted open my gun safe and stole a large number of my personal possessions and valuables. And I ended up doing 2 months in solitary confinement and then 2 months in general population, and that's when I started writing Freedom. And that's far more important than any of the stories, really, because while I was in jail, people started sending me a lot of books, and a lot of really good books about freedom, and all of the attempts that people have made from so many great authors of how to share this message. And what I realized is that there wasn't a singular book that combined all of their strengths. I'm really just a great rip-off artist in this sense as an author. None of the ideas in my book are mine or original, but I've done the best job in human history of combining those ideas in a way that makes it easy for someone to embrace a different worldview. And I got a lot of help writing this book. It's just that I had the idea. I want to combine all the best features of all of this writing into a single book. And I set out the criteria, and I wrote a very crappy first draft, and I got a lot of help editing it. And now it's an incredibly successful book with over 2 million downloads.
Wow.
It's in its 4th printing. We just got another 30,000 copies. And we give the book away when we're touring. I've got another tour coming up this September and October. If you go to my website, thefreedomline.com, and click on calendar, you can see the information about that there. And this book, it's 100 pages. It's free in every digital format, including audiobook, at thefreedomline.com. And people are buying it in bulk. They're sharing it. They're sharing it online. They are translating it into a dozen different languages as we speak right now. We've got 4 done already by volunteers. Excuse me. It's been incredible to see that there really was a demand for this tool, and it's a tool to share the message and help wake people up. So that was my experience in jail, and that's what came out of it.
This is very amazing. I tell you, for sure, you're not going to get bored on this life, okay? Many people maybe have that problem. You have an exciting life, and I'm proud that I can call you my, fellow Arizonian. And I really, I tell you, things happen for a reason. I don't know exactly how all this is going to end up, but there is always a reason behind. And even the fact, that you had to spend that time in jail and all that hardship. Look, now you had the opportunity to stop for a moment and regroup your ideas and sharing and bouncing out your ideas to millions of people. That's right there. Yeah. Maybe there was a purpose, and I'm sorry that you had to go through all that. And
well, no, I was in Fallujah for 7 months with the Marines in combat most of that time. So 4 months in jail was really, for me, a very small sacrifice for the cause.
Yes.
It didn't concern me at all. I wasn't, bothered by the hardship of it. And, what I want to, just to get philosophical a little bit about what you're saying, I don't think things happen for a reason. Things just happen. And we have the opportunity in our lives to give them reason, to give those things meaning, and to make the most of it. And maybe there's no disagreement here in what we're saying, but the perspective excuse me, that I take, I think is better for me to be that empowering. Because if things happen for a reason, then it's someone else's reason. But
You're
if things
right.
just happen,
I agree.
and I get to give them reason, I get to choose my fate, I get to determine my destiny by how I respond to what happens around me, then it's so much more empowering to be able to live that way. And for me, I make a lot of mistakes. People who see the successes in my activism don't get to see, all of the mistakes in between, all the missed shots, all of the missteps, all of the, events that were lame, all of the times that I got arrested and nobody cared. But what motivates me is fear. And it's fear driven by love. If I didn't love humanity, if I didn't love freedom, if I didn't see the value in this message, then I wouldn't even understand what I'm about to tell you. But because of that love, when I look at the fear of what I'm doing, because people, again, think that I'm brave, and it's not true. Everything I do scares the crap out of me. But to be on my deathbed and not being able to say, I did everything I could to abolish government in my time, because I saw that it was what was happening and how humanity was moving forward, and I was in a position to contribute to this cause, and I put my life on the line, and I did absolutely everything that I could. That's what really scares me, and I'm not going to die like that. And I'm not, if I'm fortunate enough to have grandchildren, I'm not going to go and tell my grandchildren anything else than I did everything I could to establish a stateless, free, voluntary society so that you could prosper.
I completely agree with you. By the way, it's true. Things may happen, but it's up to us how we're going to turn them around. We can look at this, out of a bad thing, you can transform in a good thing. It's up to you. You could go deeper down or you can go up and rise up. It's always about us. I completely agree with that. This is very important what you're saying, because sometimes it's easy for people just to say, oh, I'm unlucky. Oh, that happened to me. Okay, whatever happens, it's up to us how we can transform that energy. It's like judo, somebody's trying to push you down and you can push them back using their energy. So my point is this. So by the way, another thing I want to say out there, this is very important. Your past, your experience, your life experience, the fact that you are a veteran, you are also a decorated veteran. I think it's so important part of your process as a human being, the things that you were able to learn, the truth that you were able to face, things that many people here in the US, they have no idea really what your eyes have seen, and they believe the lies of the propaganda. So I tell you guys, I always said before we dream about all these plans to go out there around the world, drop bombs, and then rebuild them. I mean, it's easy for people out here, they say bomb them all, when you never even seen a little bit of blood on your knees or scratches, okay? Because when somebody like you went there to Fallujah and you were there, you seen the blood, you seen probably your brothers, and even the civilians out there that they didn't really have any fault just to being bombed out. I mean, that's going to change the rest of your life. Do you still have a little bit of a nightmares out of that experience when it comes down to, I don't know, post-traumatic stress or stuff like that?
I have strange dreams sometimes. I don't really have nightmares anymore. I did, and I used to have. I still don't sleep very much or very well. What I deal with more is the guilt than the trauma, I suppose, of what I experienced. But yes, I saw Marines die. I was very fortunate that I never had to fire my own weapon in combat, because I was a driver and I was in civil affairs. So I was usually just getting shot at and watching other people get shot at. And the Marines that I was with were mostly shooting at shadows and muzzle flashes and who knows what. And I saw an innocent Iraqi who was driving get his vehicle shot up, and his body, he burned. He probably died right away, but I saw his body burn. I carried a Marine who was dying into a trauma center as he was bleeding out internally, and I tortured people, and really that's what haunts me about my
Wow.
experience in Iraq is that it led me to do something horrific.
Wow. This is something that unfortunately we cannot really understand unless you're there. We can have an idea, but what I really still don't understand is how the American people, not all, there's been an awakening, thankfully, but still there is a big part of people out there, and even on the left. I mean, this is not anymore about the Republican neocons issue. I mean, look at these Democrats, they support like people like Hillary, and that she's been more warmongering and destruction and illegal wars, and seriously, then probably even Bush almost, okay? And they still don't care. I really almost believe it's almost like, one day we're going to be judged. I don't care which religion you believe or not, but I really believe that whatever we're doing here now in this life, and people say, I'm atheist, that's fine. But I really believe there is a karma. The moment that you support or you stay silent on issues like this, and people in our names going out there and destroying and mayheming and killing millions of innocents, okay, it's been proven. One day we're going to pay the consequences, also our souls. I really believe that. I'm sure you're familiar with the general, one of the most famous American general, the most decorated U.S. Marine general in the early 20s, that wrote a book.
Bradley Butler.
Yeah, The War is a Rocket. And that was a hippie.
Yep.
Okay, so that's my point. That's what I want to say to these people out there that they think they're so, let's go and bomb them all. And they think they're pro-America and pro-troops just because you think that you're going to follow the freaking, mantra of these politicians like McCain or any of them. Doesn't make any difference anymore. Listen, talking about love, this show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. And for me, you're already the impersonification of love. Love for freedom is probably one of the most altruistic form of love because it's a love for all humanity, But it's also a physical love. You're a good-looking guy, by the way. I'm not gay, but I'm just telling you as from outside. And I saw that before you had a girlfriend. Now I see on your profile you are single. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I read on Facebook. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, because on this show, we talk about 3 different topics. First hour normally is about freedom, politics, all the stuff. Then we have the second hour, we talk about guns, training, and really practical things about the Second Amendment. And then there is, of course, the hour about love. Then normally we talk about everything. And among those, we talk about, for example, I have the first free dating service for freedom-loving people. It's called freedomlovers.us. I created this idea completely free. There is no even credit card to put. I'm paying for everything. My music, my sponsor pay for everything. So people can go out there, create an account, and the idea is to have people who, let's say, respect each other, who believes in freedom. If you are, let's say, a typical person that loves, I don't know, Bush or Hillary, that's not your place. I mean, you can still come, but I don't think you're going to find anybody. But my point is, if we have that type of, at least basic concept, that we respect each other, we believe in freedom, I want you on freedomlovers.us. Now, I have also on the air, I do this sort of a special, let's say, announcement, and I try to connect like a little Cupid, singles from the freedomlovers.us from around America and also around the world. Are you still officially a single right now, or you have a girlfriend, or maybe 2?
I am. I've had a very intense breakup with my fiance recently, and I'm still getting over it. And I don't even know what I want in a relationship at this point. I wish I could say that I did. I mean, it would be nice to have the one soulmate who cared about freedom as much as I did and understood what I was doing and wanted to support me in that for the same reasons that I want to do it. And one of the things that you might have seen that I said publicly in my breakup message about what a wonderful woman my fiance is. That it's just that we are not capable of meeting each other's long-term needs. And she said in her post that some people, aren't meant to be with someone else for life. And I don't know if that's a reasonable expectation. I'm a hopeless romantic. I am delusionally optimistic about love and relationships, and I get myself into trouble with that over and over again in my life. But I'm in a very strange point in my life in general right now, where I have so many distinct challenges and stressors and things that I'm dealing with, but at the same time, so many beautiful, amazing things that I'm working on that I get to be a part of, and I'm just staying optimistic and going with the flow right now. So I'm really open to anything.
You know, from outside, Adam, you know, of course, just my outside vision, maybe I don't know the whole story, but people like yourself, it's dedicated and committed to this cause. It's not exactly the typical 9 to 5 lifetime, okay? And I'm not saying that,
Right.
but it's very more than just the typical activism, okay? Every day, every month, I mean, it seems like almost you don't even ask for it. It's just your natural nature to get in situations like that. Sometimes you were born with stuff like that, okay? That's why I started to believe, like, you know, monks, you know, the monks that create a type of lifestyle. And I'm not saying that
Yeah, exactly. I should be celibate. I should never have a woman in my life.
Okay, maybe
it's impossible.
Miss List, I have another thing I want to share with you, you know, because we are all inspiring from each other, and I got inspiration from you also in this one. I created 2 years ago what is called the Religion of Freedom. You can go to religionoffreedom.com, okay? And I wear like a typical monk, Middle Ages with a hood, stuff like that. The only difference is that I have a belt and I have a gun and I have a bottle of beer in my hand, okay? So that's my religion of freedom. So the point is, people like yourself, I believe, and sometimes I want to put myself into this too, even I never really done such things like yourself, but it's like almost a pattern of, I don't want to call it loneliness, but sometimes it's difficult to find a person that can commit herself, in this case, for long term, when you have to go through all your challenges and all your journey, and sometimes it's a journey that doesn't give you space for other things. And I'm not saying that you gotta be a monk in the sense of no more sex, no more love, but sometimes it's a different type of relationship, because it's very hard to create a type of, to find. And don't get me wrong, maybe there is out there one person like yourself that you are on the same tune, you know. But it's very difficult. I understand that, you know, and sometimes you gotta just follow the you know, as much as we say we want to create our own reality, that's fine. But when it comes down to love, you cannot force it. I believe sometimes you gotta really follow the signs too. So anyway, I want to give you the opportunity. I mean, not because you need it. I say you're a great looking guy, but we.
No, I mean, I don't think I'm taking very good advantage of this opportunity right now if you're trying to set me up, because I really sound like someone you shouldn't want to date or be with at all. But I'm such a sucker for female affection and attention and companionship.
Yeah.
That you know, it's very easy for a woman to own my soul.
Okay, can I ask you something? If you had like, I am like your little Aladdin, you know, the little genie, and I'm here. Okay? I have special magic powers. Okay, I'm almost like the government. I can create things out of nothing. Okay, now I want to give you the opportunity to say out loud what type of woman would be your ideal woman. Describe it. Everything from physical, if you want, mentally, color of the skin, eyes, whatever, and I will make it happen. I'll pray for that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Give
well,
me.
I thought you were going to give me 3 wishes, in which case my first wish would be to abolish government, and then I can retire and build my house in peace. But barring that, the most important thing for me in a woman is that she cares about freedom as much as I do. And the next thing is that she's committed to living by those values. And the next thing that comes out of that is, you know, lifestyle and willing to live the way that I intend to here. But even that I'm not committed to. As for a physical type, I don't particularly have one, but I really do appreciate a woman who takes care of herself physically, and not just is healthy, but fit and very healthy, because that's something that's important to me. So more than, you know, any particular, like, I'm not, you know, particularly picky about hair color or eye color or, you know, I mean, I like women who are attractive visually. I like women who, but more than that, who are strong and poised and elegant, and know how to carry themselves. I'm attracted to women who have that inner strength and that sense of self.
And on top, if I can add something, you live in the nature. I mean, I know your area where you live. It's not exactly Beverly Hills or, fancy store. It's just about nature. And that's the way I like it. I love that. I try to find my own spaces pretty much like that, okay? So this person must be somehow not exactly into nail salons or things like that, but maybe enjoying the beautiful stars and maybe enjoying the nature, maybe just be happy, be close to Earth.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's important, I think, At least I pray. I don't know, sometimes people say, hey, I pray. I never know. This is the magic trick I do here on Love, Guns, and Freedom. And by the way, so far it's been working. I had great hookups that I created between people that I have no idea. I had, let's say, a single last year that he got engaged with a person from Europe, and this is an American lady. That's pretty amazing, So I never know. You never know. So anyway, listen, I want to say, first of all, thank you for everything you're doing and everything you've done in the past, and for your book. I want to buy also the physical hard copy. I know you're selling the hard copy. On your website, I think there is a way to find out, right?
Yep.
The
freedomline.com.
Yes.
We have a store set up. You can buy singles. We sell them very inexpensive, and we sell them in bulk as close to cost as we can.
So I want to buy. That's what I say to people. If you want to really help, you say I live. Many of you say maybe they live outside this area. They cannot do anything. That's fine. At least be curious. See what he has to say. Get this message. And if you support, what you've been doing, let's give him at least. Let's get a book out of this. Let's try to get something that we can also share the message and we can help you out. That's excellent. Listen, also I'd like to be in touch with you. Any type of activity. You told me about the court date. I'll try to be there if I can. I'm not sure, but we'll be in contact. And do you have any other people living with you, or you're by yourself right now on this ranch?
Well, I have two people that are directly involved with what I'm doing. One is my ranch assistant, my ranch manager here.
Okay.
And that way I know that there's always someone here if I'm traveling to secure the property. And I have another gentleman who's here part-time who right now is helping out with our merchandise operations. So
good.
I'm not totally alone, but, I got to say, out of my last relationship, and this is what I guess I'm still trying to figure out is whether I should be looking for a relationship with someone that I have the kind of intense involvement that I had in my last relationship, because it really was amazing to have someone that I was with, 24/7. It's been a very intense 2 years together, and I don't know if that's realistic for a relationship between a man and a woman, but that's what I would like, is someone who, for whom we can be everything to each other and truly, in the deepest sense, life partners.
Well, I think it's possible. It's only a question. Sometimes it takes a little more time because what you're doing is not exactly the standard lifestyle, okay? So, but everything's possible. We have how many billions of people out there? I mean, we can find each other. That's why I say also for the listeners, go to freedomlovers.us. It's free. Enjoy it. Now, the last thing, and I'll let you go. I know you have another interview after. Arizona, unfortunately, is still ruled by men, and there is still some sort of too much government, in my opinion. But still, according to other things, for example, when it comes down to the Second Amendment, probably we reach one of the way it's supposed to be, in my opinion, America, what it used to be. The idea that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and we don't need your stinking permits. What do you think about the fact that here, finally, a free human being can carry and also own weapons without any more paperwork? How do you still, do you enjoy that?
No, that's awesome. That's one of the reasons I'm here in Arizona, and it unfortunately, it doesn't apply to me directly, since as a convicted felon, I'm not allowed to own firearms. But to be surrounded by people who value their freedom and won't let government take them makes me feel a lot safer. And this is one of those places where people understand the Second Amendment is not about hunting. It's about standing up to government. And there are a lot of people here who are ready to take up arms to defend my property. And it's been amazing to have as many pledges of support as we have already about this, of people who are like, yeah, Adam, this is a good place. This is where I'd be willing to take a stand.
And as I said, we pray for peace, but we gotta be prepared. And every one of us, this is the point. I'm not gonna tell people what to do. I know I'm a very nonviolent person. I believe in complete peace. But there is a point. The difference between be peaceful and being a slave, there is a big distinction. So every one of us must understand when it's time to draw the line in the sand. And I'm not judging others, but everybody must follow their own type of call. Now, I want to say thank you again and say one more time, please, this website, because I really would like everybody, they want to support you, at least buy a book. It's good for them and good for you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. The website is thefreedomline.com, thefreedomline.com. And if you find my Facebook from there, you can find the event for August 9th for the Yavapai County Administration Building hearing in Prescott, Arizona. It's an hour south of where we are. It's an hour north of Phoenix. So I hope for all of you who are listening in the Valley, you can come up and join us on that day and make a phone call now and figure that out, how we can put the pressure on them to get them to back off peacefully without confrontation. And you can download my book for free in every digital format, including audiobook, at thefreedomline.com.
Very good. Okay, guys, this was pretty much almost the end. Don't go away. I have the last few minutes to say something. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM. Don't go away. It is that time again. 1776, the organic coffee to brew a revolution. Brought to you by Zanna Coffee. 1776 is the best organic and GMO-free coffee beans blend from around the world to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade certified, sustainable organic coffee. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Get 1776 at www.zannacoffee.com www.zannacoffee.com. Don't be cheap. Life is too short. 1776. And there was Adam Kokesh. Interesting story. And, unfortunately, one of these days we need to realize how we want to continue to live our existence for us and for our next generation. We've been trained to be slaves. Yes, it is true. People say, what are you talking about? I'm sorry. Think about it. You really think you own your property? You don't. The moment that you need to ask for a permit, anytime you move a rock, or you need to build maybe a wall or something. And I'm not talking about, for example, with exceptions that you could be dangerous to others. I understand, let's say you live in New York or some big city. You want to be sure that if you build, you build in a way that you don't fall on top of each other. Understandable. I understand in case, let's say you have a loan with a bank or a lender. I understand. The lender must be sure that you do not ruin their properties. I'm talking about in the situation like, for example, here, this specific case, Adam Kokesh, 10 acres in the middle of nowhere, okay? Do not disturbing anything, anybody. And just because you want to build something, a shack, or you want to camp out on your own property, you need to ask for a permit. And guess what? You cannot even camp out anymore on your own property because slaves must ask for a permit to master. In this case, it is no more the king, it is no more the queen, but it's local government. So that's my point. There are different battles we can try to fight. I say sometimes you need to pick your own battles. Property taxes, I think something that unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to figure it out right now immediately. Maybe in the future, I pray. But something like that, permits, I think we have a chance. Especially when we live in rural America, rural Arizona. We do not infringe on anybody else's rights. Very important condition. And why should we force to pay and to beg for a permit? That's the bottom line. So unfortunately, there is so much work to do, but at least I really believe in Arizona we still have an opportunity to stand up. And I pray for peace. I'm always for peace. But at the same time, one thing good about this state, The slaves, they are not completely disarmed. We have their right. I really pray we can get electing people. We can elect people in our county government who understands what America used to be. Nobody should be forced to have and beg for any permit to build in the conditions, according to the conditions I told you before. Anyway, this show is almost done. As I said, this is an act of love. It takes me really a lot of time and effort, and sometimes even, especially now when it's summertime, it's so hot. But I'm happy and I'm humble, and I want to say thank you. I realize that the show, even it's a local show, is being picked up by several news, at least outlets. The New York Times, when I had the interview with Karen Stewart, the NSA, former NSA whistleblower. The article was also linked on New York Times, talking about targeted individuals, was linked to Love, Guns, and Freedom. I noticed that the scumbag of Senator McCain, he uses my name and the name of the show when, let's say, tried to go after Kelly Ward for her campaign, And don't get me wrong, that's fine. I mean, that was publicly. But the point is, I'm humble. I'm really thankful. Local little show like mine is even be used by multi-million dollars campaign. And lately, of course, with the situation with Representative Borelli, Sonny Borelli, with this former domestic violence, different newspapers, at least, for example, the Arizona Capital Time, I guess, mention. It doesn't mention really the show. It says, a low-level local show, but there is a link to my interview to my website. So I want to say thank you. I'm just trying to do my job, and I appreciate your support. If you want to support the show, don't forget, just 99 cents. You can go to www.zanna.us, ZANNA.us. Just $1. You can download any of my songs, and I appreciate it. That keeps the show free. Don't forget my rifle. It's almost, we're already selling out. Freedomrifle.com, freedomrifle.com, the most affordable military-grade AR-15 on the U.S. market. Thank you very much, and God's willing, I'll talk to you next Sunday. Ciao.
It's always the same. Little every day. They're sucking our blood. They're stealing our lives away. If we are too busy, we're too afraid. We're already lost our soul. We're already their slaves. Now is the time to stand for our rights. Now is the time to pray and